What if you could take that risk, make that change, reach that goal, live your best life? Welcome to another episode of the What If You Could podcast, where we get together with amazing experts and everyday people who share challenges, encourage healing, and explore the possibilities that life has to offer. I'm your host, Gary Scott, and I'm excited that you're along for the ride. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the What If You Could podcast. And today, my lovely guest from all the way across the ocean, she's in Cyprus today, is Anastasia Gerali. Gerali. Did I get it the first time?
You got it right. It's okay.
Yes. Yes. Well, welcome. It's 8 o'clock at night. We're in Cyprus. And so I'm so grateful that you are hanging out. But I know there you're probably just going to go to dinner at 9, so it doesn't really matter.
You're absolutely right. Mediterranean style, nice and late.
So welcome, my friend. If it's okay with you, I'm just going to fire off. You have a short bio, if I can do that, so everyone knows who we're talking to.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Anastasia Gerali is the creator of the Rapid Alignment Therapy, a groundbreaking method that integrates somatic and emotional healing, psychospiritual alignment, and brain repatterning. Her approach combines the best of psychological practices with faith-based spiritual framework, offering a unique path to deep transformation. As a teacher and mentor, she trains other healers to the Rapid Alignment Therapy certification, helping them embody and share the powerful modality with their communities. Anastasia's mission is to pack the lives of 1 million women, heading to 1 billion. Once we get to 1 million, we're going to move to 1 billion. Sparking a ripple of healing and abundance that resonates across families and communities around the globe. Her work specializes in feminine psychology and is grounded in spiritual principles that create lasting, life-altering results. And that is really awesome. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you for having me, Gary.
Yeah. So, because we're the What If You Could podcast, I do have one question. And basically, have you had a what if you could moment if you life? Have you gone through what if you could? Are you still reaching for a what if you could? What's your what if you could?
I've definitely had many what if you could moments in my life, pivotal moments, catalytic moments, if you will. And, every one of those moments kind of sparks a new path, which is going to lead to a new set of moments. It's a ripple effect, a beautiful ripple effect. And hopefully, with every crossroad that we reach, we make a better decision than the previous one, because that shows we've grown.
Awesome. Well, that's something we all hope to do, right? I mean, we all make boo-boos, we all crash and burn, we all should have gone right when we went left, and you look back and go, ah. I'm going through a lot of that now at 62. I'm like, oh man, remember when I was supposed to go left and I went right?
Right.
Things would be different now,
Yeah.
right? And you've had a whole kerfuffle of different boo-boos and owies and stuff that kind of set you on your path, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was hard going through those and being in those as that version of myself. And now, if I had the exact same crossroads to take, would I choose differently? I hope so. I hope I would, because then it would be evidence that I've learned that my algorithm is improving. And it just keeps getting better and better. That's a great conclusion to come to.
What's behind the focus of women? I mean, obviously you're a woman. I guess I got to be careful with that in
I
America.
am.
So you
Biologically
currently
identify as all the things. Yes,
right.
I am.
So Just based on what I've read about you and looked into and the things that you're doing with your workshops and your counseling and your training and
Mm,
so on and so forth. Um, it's really a feminine based work.
mm, mm.
Is that just strictly because you're a gal, or is it you feel it's time we start empowering women to find themselves and get healed?
I mean, I think that statement is true for everyone, not just women. My work, interestingly enough, it wasn't ever a conscious choice to work only with women, but in every business that I've started, it naturally had an inclination to be for women and by women. And I am by no means a feminist or a modern feminist. There's a lot that they represent today that doesn't resonate with my belief system as well as my embodiment of what the modern feminine is. And yeah, I actually had a conversation with a therapist recently when I told him that I specialize in feminine psychology. He was immediately offended. He said, I've studied this and there is no such thing as feminine psychology. How dare you say that? And I asked him if he knew anything about polarity, masculine, feminine. And it seemed like he just briefly knew, but he didn't know. And that's what makes us fundamentally different. And I think that that's a difference we should celebrate, not try to uh, collapse and even out and make redundant with the way that the movement is currently going. It seems to want to aim to make this beautiful difference redundant.
Was he an American therapist, by the way?
He was not, but I imagine he would have been trained in an American school. The differences in how we see things was very, very vast.
It's interesting what's happening. Like I said, I've been blessed to go to Europe quite a bit. Um,
Mm,
South America, Central America, things like that. It's
mm,
interesting what's happening in America as far as, like you said, you're not a feminist, traditional feminist, right?
mm.
I don't even know if there are feminists anymore in America. I wonder,
Yeah.
it seems like somehow, I don't know, the media, the government, whatever, that everyone's lost their path. Men have lost their
Hmm.
path. Masculinity's bad. Women have lost their
Mm,
path. Femininity's bad.
mm.
What happened? I mean, we need you to heal. That's why I said a million's not enough. We need you to heal a lot more people.
I think to answer your question, what happened is that we as a society took a left turn instead of a right turn. And we steered further away from the truth. And the thing with these type of polarizing beliefs is that they really are indicative of the times that we're living in, because that is how we draw a natural mass approved conclusion. And there is a bigger agenda than what we can see and what we are privy to want to create this divide and to want to create this distortion of reality, because distortion disempowers us as sovereign beings, never mind as collective beings.
Did you say mass approval?
Yes.
Nailed that. Yeah, nailed that.
Yeah.
It's and
By
it's
my definition, what is considered quote unquote normal is normal and highly dysfunctional. And it just about works for the masses, which is why it's passed as the normal grade. But it's really the bare minimum. And
that's awesome.
yeah, if you will not find a functional way to thrive, you will automatically revert to a dysfunctional way to survive. And that's what normal is.
That's why I was so interested in talking to you because it's difficult to find in America women who are proud of feminine women and the power. of women. And when you hear people in America saying, well, we can't describe what a woman is, so we're just going to name
Oh,
you something else. You're just going to be a birthing unit.
anything can be a woman, anything and anyone at any moment in time.
Absolutely. Men can be, I'm having a
Mm,
baby right now. But it's really sad because I think it started long ago. The path
mm.
to where we are today started, maybe,
Generations ago.
yeah. And it's now in full blown, destruction. So
Mm,
when you're working with people with your different coaching and your different treatments and your retreats and stuff, what do you
mm.
find is what seems to be the biggest struggle for gals right now? What do you think what are women struggling with right now?
To be honest, the majority of my women come to me feeling burnt out. And it's not a coincidence that 60% more women than men will burn out because women have joined and are a part of the workforce that was designed by men for men originally. So, in order for a woman to survive and to fit into that kind of culture, she needs to forego a lot of her feminine energy and start to think like and act like and work like a man. But it's not sustainable. And that's why they're dissatisfied with the relationships that they're settled for. They're dissatisfied with the career which was promised to them to be, a road paved in gold. And only to discover that this thing is slowly killing me. It's keeping me from having the relationship that I want with my partner, with my children. It's keeping me from my creative expression because I have to think and act like something which I am not. And I have to work as hard as someone who I'm not built the same. And I think that there's no shame in admitting that the quote unquote modern woman, which we're trying to keep up with and emulate, is slowly killing us.
You know, I've had this conversation with multiple people, and it drives me insane that for some reason women in America think that well, you don't understand. But I'm like, look, men are still doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Women are still doing the same thing times two. So
Mm,
the gal is still getting up, taking care of the kids, taking care of all the stuff, taking care of the household, then going to work and coming
mm,
home and finishing taking care of the kids, taking care of the husband,
yeah.
taking care of the house, running everything, taking care of the bills and everything. But the husband is still doing the same lazy ass shit, right?
He's still working, right?
Right? And so it's
And
like, wait a
because the
minute.
woman is working, it's not even expected of him to provide as much as he could. He's just doing the bare minimum because, well, somebody else is contributing to 50% of the finances now.
Oh, and the thing is, and instead of manning up and becoming the leader and becoming someone who can help take on the roles, men have decided just to become women
Mm,
and stay home till they're 40 and live in the basement and it completely be void of any testosterone whatsoever.
mm,
And they don't they don't even understand the concept. And I don't think there's so few role models for men anymore. But I think women have just been, like you said, just deprived. I mean, just absolutely stripped of
mm.
the freedom to be women and just be feminine and have the woman's role. It's really not fair.
Yeah, it isn't. It isn't. And unfortunately, it would have taken many generations to live this path and slowly discover the hard way that it's not sustainable. And it comes at too high a cost, which we're seeing. I mean, there's many reasons really, besides, of course, the fact that our government is poisoning us, but the rise of infertility is on an up and up trajectory. And I do believe that it has a lot to do with the fact that women are chasing lifestyles and careers that are taking them further away from the path which, it's a soul desire. It's a soul desire to have a family. And we postpone that um, until maybe it's too late, until maybe oh, wow, I wasted 15 years chasing a career and I don't even have a relationship. I haven't had the types of relationships where I was allowed to be in my receiver mode, where I was allowed to be an oracle instead of a worker.
How are you helping these gals? I mean, when they come to you, you've got, I love this line, as a psycho-spiritual teacher and soul path mentor.
Mhm.
So you are now as a psycho-spiritual teacher and soul path mentor. I love the soul path
Yeah.
mentor. That's awesome. What
Yeah.
is what I mean, in my brain, I kind of get what soul path mentor is, but tell us what you do with that.
Sure. So your soul path is your soul's journey here, your soul's purpose, if you will. When we talk about purpose, it's not just about fulfilling something, it's also about experiencing something. And your soul path is made up of 4 pillars, which I teach to absolutely all my clients, all my students, because um, if we want to create a solid foundation of this human experience, we need to experience our ultimate in the pillar number 1 is higher self connection, being able to connect to your higher self, your divine self, your future self, your God self. Have a direct line to God so that you can understand the guidance, trust the guidance, and follow the guidance. That's the first pillar. The second pillar is creative expression. And this tends to be in our career. Do I feel I'm being creatively expressed? I can do law, I can do finance, I can do IT, and it still be a creative expression according to my talents and skills and abilities. So, am I creatively expressed in my career, in what I'm doing, what I'm giving? The third pillar is aligned relationships. So, this is our friends, our clients, as well as our romantic partners. Are these relationships in alignment with my soul path? Are they taking me closer to my path or pulling me away from my path? And the fourth pillar is my lifestyle. Does my lifestyle support my highest timeline, or is it something that I need to take a holiday from? Because if I'm living, working, and relating out of alignment, I'm going to feel like I need a holiday from my life quite often. When I'm living my aligned lifestyle, I don't need a holiday from my life.
We want to have a life that we don't need a vacation from, right? Do
Exactly.
you have a kitty cat that's just dying to get on your lap? Is that what keeps coming over there?
Yes. He wants to say hi.
He can come and say hi anytime he wants. I put a microphone on him. I want to hear what the cat has to say about all
Oh,
this.
he's left now. He wasn't getting the
Okay.
attention he
Because
wanted.
cats are feline. And they've got a lot of
Hmm.
feminine power. So
Yeah.
I love the 4 pillars.
Mm.
And you brought up something that I was gonna go to, and I completely spaced because you have so you have so much that it just engages me. Um, but you did talk about the healing and
Mm.
eventual alignment with her
Mm.
highest timeline, and you just brought
Yes.
the highest timeline up again.
Mm.
What is the highest timeline? How do we find it, and how do we
Yeah.
get on it?
Well, your highest timeline is your soul path. It's the highest potential life and experience for you. So that's what your soul path is. It's your highest possible timeline because at any given moment in time, we have so many paths that we get to choose, and each of those will go to their own ending or their own destination. So this is the sooner. I always say the best time to have started this work is yesterday. The second best time is today, right? Because it's not going to get any easier. You're still going to have to go through the waves and the challenges that you're going to have to go through. But the sooner you start it, the sooner you can just get on with being and not having to keep coming back to these chapters, which we keep reviewing and repeating.
It's funny because that's what we kind of hit on earlier was when I zigged when I should have zagged and I turned right when I should have gone left. Is that what
Mm.
our timeline is?
Yeah, exactly. Our timeline is a blueprint for the life which we get to experience, right? That we get to receive and also give. And your highest possible timeline is the one that you're least attached to. Because when we have attachment, we have ego, and attachment creates expectations, and expectations are very, very rarely met. So the highest timeline is the one that you haven't even imagined yet, because your imagination can only stretch as far as it's seen and as far as it's experienced. Beyond that, it can't imagine what's possible for you. And it's that stepping into the realm of the unknown, which we fear, which we've been taught to fear because of all the worst case scenarios in the realm of the unknown. But what if in the realm of the unknown is the realm of limitless possibility, where anything is possible, probable, and available to you? You know, what if? What if you could do anything? What if you could be anyone? Who would that be?
Yeah, the way you're merging the spirituality, um, religion, God, it's it's a tightrope. It's a fine line. Not everyone, some people want to be, oh, I'm woo-woo spiritual and I don't believe in God, but I believe in a higher source. And other people like, oh, Jesus Christ is my savior. And there it is. He came flying there. Oh, he's a big boy. Oh, he's a
He is.
he's a big boy. Cute butt too. He's got a cute butt. Um, but so you're merging kind of the two with the spirituality, with the
Mm.
religion, with ho- is there did you find one before the other and decided that they both worked, or how are you bringing both of those into your work?
Higher self. It's the only way I can explain it. Oh goodness, he's just wants to sit here on the keyboard. I think you have to go like that full exploration route. You have to go all in on both things in order to find what resonates from each of those things. If we try to explore or try to expand ourselves only through psychology and not bring spirituality into it, then it lacks depth and it lacks connection because it needs for it to be rational in order for it to make sense or in order for it to garner results, right? So if it's irrational, um, it must be a version of madness, which we can't explain. And just because we can't explain it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist to us yet. And then, of course, if you go down the spiritual path and throw yourself very deep into either this modern surface level fluffy spirituality or even religion, then it becomes very black or white. That if it doesn't say so in the book, then it must not be right. And again, just because your mind cannot expand to those new heights or those new possibilities doesn't mean it doesn't cease to exist. So spirituality without psychology, it's very ungrounded. It's very ungrounded, and it also dismisses certain hard truths which you need to be able to face about yourself in order to be able to change them. There's a quote, and I can't remember who said it, and I'm paraphrasing, that the level to which we can grow is directly in proportion to how much truth we can accept about ourselves.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, I love that. And the funny thing is when you think about it, people go, well, I can't believe in spirituality because it's so woo-woo, it's out there and it's not really based on anything, whatever. And then you go, dude, you believe in a Bible written by a bunch of dudes. It's changed a bunch of times. We don't know if all those guys really existed. These are kind of stories, but yet you completely, have to follow
Believe that.
that. So
Mm,
why
mm.
can't you also believe that perhaps there's another realm there? that can
mm,
also get you where you want to go, or can heal you, or can work with you, right? I mean, you
mm.
can find you can find reality in both, really, can't you? I mean, if you wanted to.
Yeah. As well as inclusive as you can be, the less rigid and the less fixed your worldview is. So if you can include all possibilities, then you won't come into conflict when somebody has a different version or a different perspective to you. And if we don't come into uh, this frisson, then we don't have a reason to be mad or upset at anybody, right? Then by default, we live in a peaceful community because we don't have these fears of each other's differences. We don't have these rigid, fixed rules about good, bad, black, white. It's all just different shades of gray.
Yeah, I mean, think about how many wars and deaths and killing have just been fought over religion. It's
Mm,
like, I mean, even now in America, the crazy stuff that's going on here, just yesterday with some guy, mowing down 45 people, killing 10,
mm,
12 people, in the all
mm,
for Islam or ISIS or whatever the hell he was, it's
mm.
like there's got to be a way that we can find common ground here,
Yeah.
because I mean,
Mm,
at some point, it's got to end. We're not all going to be converted to one way or the other. It's just not going to happen. And I think with the
mm,
spirituality aspect of it, whether it's Tao, or there's Buddhism, I mean, there's a lot of other ways to look at things,
mm,
that are less, I don't want to say less rigid, but just maybe a little more forgiving.
mm, mm. Yeah, absolutely. And, in my opinion, I think all these schools, they're saying the same thing just differently. And it's not that the word is being mm, mistranslated or misinterpreted, it's that the action of the word is quite differently embodied and expressed. So it's not that anyone is right and anyone is wrong. It's just that they want to create these little degrees of division so that we can be split into little facets because there's less power in facets versus a whole unified.
So diplomatic. Well done.
Thank you. I thought
So
I
well stated.
navigated that wave well.
So well stated. Now you
Mhm.
do with your work with women, and again, I just love the feminine power. I mean, I just love the feminine power of women. I don't know why, you know, the powers that be want to steal it, except they just want to weaken everything. They want to weaken the
Yeah.
family, they want to weaken women, they want to weaken men, they want to weaken everyone so they can just have
Mm.
total control of everything. But I mean, but I think at some point it reaches a breaking point. And like you said, I
Yeah.
think burnout is probably one of the first signs that this is not working, right?
hmm hmm Yeah. And so we as little creatures of research want to go from one extreme end to the other extreme end. It's the pendulum effect. The more people believe in something and subscribe to something, even when they believe the opposite, it's still feeding the same pendulum. So that's what we're doing. We've gone from these like extremely traditional, controlled versions of the feminine to now the complete other side of it, where the feminine doesn't exist. Anything and everyone can be it, anything and everyone can claim it. So by default, we're erasing what it means to be feminine. And like you said, it's the lifeline into the family, it's the lifeline into communities. So if children are raised without mothers, and men are raised without mothers and without women, because the father figure is not around, if the mother doesn't exist, it's that simple, then yeah, what does that leave us besides these disconnected little, homesick 3-year-olds that are just clinging to something that reminds them of family or reminds them of union, and that tends to be political ideas.
You are on the island of Cyprus. Yes.
Correct.
And you told me that it is the island of,
Goddess Aphrodite. It's the birthplace of the goddess Aphrodite.
and she was an awesome chick,
I
right?
mean, she was, but she was very immature. I think she's the perfect representation of the feminine today, to be honest.
Really? Is it
Yeah.
because she was, well, you tell me, why do you think that? I mean, I'm obviously not
Yeah.
an expert on her whatsoever. So why would you, I mean, I could, now that you say that, that makes sense to me.
Mm. Yeah.
But why do you
Goddess
think that?
Aphrodite is the goddess of love and beauty. So
Mhm.
it comes with its shadow side that Goddess Aphrodite was born an adult. So, in psychology terms, to me, that would mean that she has childhood trauma because she hasn't experienced a childhood, right? So now she's born an adult and she has this power to seduce anyone that she wants. And she's also vain. She wants to be the most beautiful of all women. So she uses her femininity and the shadow aspect of her femininity, her seductress, to get what she wants. And all the mythological stories are about her tricking someone or her taking something. She always gives a bad deal to the person that she's trying to trick, the person that she's trying to manipulate. So for me, that really is a representation of the modern woman today. She has childhood issues that she hasn't dealt with, and she might be using her femininity only there where it serves her to. So, not really embodying it, but only using it for sex and love as a trade.
So Aphrodite, if she was around today, would be a Kardashian.
Actually, yes. How perfect is that? Yeah, huge influence on the masses, right? Making people chase something that she set the standard for. Uh,
Shallow, sexual,
yeah,
using
yeah.
your
Mommy and
sex
daddy
to,
issues.
yeah, deep mommy daddy issues,
Mm,
using your sex to get what you want, right?
mm,
Using,
mm. Well, for
interesting.
influence.
Yeah,
That's a
Aphrodite
great analogy.
should be a Kardashian. Actually, no, I wouldn't want her to be a Kardashian. Um, but I want to get back to some of your training. Now, you do is it a 3-day retreat or is it a 3-day
Mhm.
course, or what's the course that I saw on your
Yeah,
website?
it's a 3-day event. It's the Soul Manifestation Code. So it's just a free 3-day masterclass, which I've created for people so they can understand how to navigate their traumas. So I teach them some of the tools which I teach inside my program as well as my certification program. So that we can get closer to your soul path, we need to release anything and any belief and any limitation that we have that is keeping us from stepping into that lane.
I love that. How can we help our women? How can we help? You want to help 1 million women around the world. I have 100 million here in America, or probably about 50 million here in America that I could give you to help.
That
Um,
would be amazing.
I mean, how are you gonna help all these women? How are you gonna, what's the secret to get back to some sort of sanity?
Well, the way that I've downloaded what my mission here is to help 1 million women, it's through my certification. All I can do is teach my modality to other people that are supporting other people so that we can create this beautiful ripple effect into the world through the lives of my practitioners, clients, and their own relationships, their own personal relationships. Now, as a whole, I want women to wake up and remember who they are, and not need to fight for it because it's not lacking, it's not taken away, it's something that you embody. No one can take it from you. It's all a mental game, this fight that we have, it's all a mental distortion.
Yeah. Do you think we've lost a generation? I mean, do you think this 20 to 30-year-old group of gals, do you think we've lost them, or do you think we can kind of bring them back? They've been pretty hypnotized. They've been pretty
Yeah.
traumatized.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a collective trance that they're under. I think that there will be some collateral damage, unfortunately. It just is part of growth that there has to be some deaths as well. And I hope I'm quite a realist when I say that. I'm quite grounded in my beliefs. I don't do fluffy, lofty. Yes, everyone can be, because I don't think that's true, because I don't think that everybody has the capacity to choose for themselves. And the ones that do wake up to the ability to choose are the ones that hopefully will make the right choice.
I sure hope so. For future generations, just like you said, just to save the planet. I mean, we're not having children. We don't have families. We don't have I mean, people say, oh, you can't just recreate the 50s and the nuclear family and stuff. I said, no, no, no. This goes back to cavemen and women. I mean, you had the traditional family thousands of years ago, millions of years ago, with cavemen and women and children, right? We had roles, we had defined things that we do, and it functioned.
Yeah.
That was what we were put here to do. It's not something that needed to be changed. It's not something
Mm.
that needed to be altered. That's what we chemically, biologically, that's what we are. What we
Mhm.
do, right?
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with that being enough. It's almost been made shameful to just want a traditional family and a traditional lifestyle. It's been made to be something that means that you're less than capable. And maybe that's the majority of humans' roles, is just to ensure the survival of the species, Um, because through that, we have the potential to give birth to more incredible minds that will take us all forward.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me about your rapid alignment therapy.
Mm,
Tell me about what that is and how you're helping people with that.
yeah. So, rapid alignment therapy is subconscious reprogramming, because everything that lives on our default operating system is on the subconscious mind level, or the unconscious mind. And your unconscious desires will always outweigh your conscious efforts. So even if you have certain goals, if you have a belief system that doesn't support the manifestation of those goals, you're going to keep creating and recreating evidence and experiences of you not being able to do the thing that you want to do, or have the thing that you want to have. And that's an automatic unconscious design that you're creating life with. So through rapid alignment therapy, we go into the subconscious mind. We identify the role, function, and purpose of these beliefs, or of these sometimes even physical manifestations. So we're talking about psychosomatic manifestations, and then we reprogram them on an emotional and mental level. And then phase two of that therapy session is really releasing them from the physical soma and creating the energy and the expansion of your frequency, or of your energy, to be more in alignment with where you want to go. So this is really great for any coach, healer, or therapist that is already supporting people and simply wants a method which is instantaneous and permanent to reprogram someone, recreate healthier brain patterns for someone.
Do people come to you knowing what they want and you help them get there? Or they're so just traumatized and burnt out when they get to you, they don't have a clue what they want or where they want to go? I mean, do you help people find that timeline, or
Yeah.
or do they need to come to you with some kind of desire of to be where they want to go?
Normally, people come to me thinking that they know exactly what they need or what they want in order for them to be happy. And I guess a part of the work that I do is try to teach them or show them that when you're living a soul path, it's not where ego wants to take you. It's where your soul has been magnetized to. So everything is happening to you, through you, and for you. When you're trying to create from a mental level still, there's a lot of attachment associated with that. And we already said attachment creates disappointment. And remember that your imagination can only stretch as far as it's seen and as far as it's experienced. So again, your mental desire is actually a limited version of what you're actually capable of. So by releasing that or identifying why that is so important for me, because normally an attachment to a desire validates something for me. When I can find out what I'm trying to validate through this milestone, maybe it's like my first 10K month or my first million, or it's, when I get a boyfriend or a girlfriend, that desire that you're looking to validate something, if we can start with the validation so that the desire becomes obsolete. And that way I'm more open to this or something better.
Does this work with, we talked about the burnout, which in America is probably 90% of women, men. Does this work at any age? I mean, does it work, with any type of relationship? You've got a burned out housewife with 6 kids. You've got the 23-year-old with 18 different hair colors and 14 different, nose rings. And I mean, does this work, this type of modality, with anybody?
Yeah, absolutely. It can work on anybody because if you look at the way we're designed, we're pretty much in a state of hypnosis the majority of our day. So we're all playing out certain trances. So if we can break a trance and pattern interrupt and create a new brain pattern, then you can choose which trance you want to be under. You can choose a better trance, a trance that is more easy, more abundant, more generous, or I can choose this other trance that is chasing certain dreams or certain desires, chasing a feeling that it will never get through achieving those specific things, because it's always going to be more, more, more. And that insatiableness comes from a place of not enoughness, as in I'm not enough. So therefore I can't have enough to validate me. So yeah, it works on any age as long as the person is really committed to changing something, because sometimes it can be so confronting to see what this habit or behavior or maybe even disease that I have is validating for me, and am I willing to let go of that identity in order to adopt a new one?
That was actually going to be my next question, is because, unfortunately, with men and women and the roles and things like this. And again, I can only speak for America, not around the world, but you could have the deep desire to want to make some changes, or you want to do something here or there. Yet the fear of, well, I can't, I can't stop doing this because I'm supposed to be this.
Yeah.
I can't go there because I'm supposed to be here, type of thing. And I,
Mhm.
I think we all have that deep desire for
Mhm.
something, right?
Yeah,
So how do you help these gals say it's okay? It's
yeah,
okay to go after that. You have every right to do it.
yeah. Well, that really does require someone's conscious decision making, that I choose a better life than this, or I choose a better career, a better relationship than this, because I know on a soul level, I'm capable of more. So if I'm capable of more, am I committed to allowing myself to have more? Or am I committed to being the version of me that always wants more? And that's very confronting. So only if someone is able to admit that truth, then does its hold on you start to disintegrate. You know, like they say the first road to recovery is admitting that you have a problem. It's the same thing. This is my unconscious addiction to things being hard, or my unconscious addiction to always putting my needs last. I get many, many interested people that want to work with me that say, I really want to work with you, but I can only start working with you in 5 months, or I can only start working with you when my kids finish school and go to college, or now it's when they finish college. That is a postponing of you receiving. So what unconscious part of you wants to have that yearning rather than actually have received thing?
And I think that's, you completely beautifully answered. The question is having permission. No, you don't have to wait. You don't have to
Yeah.
wait to get what you want because you keep
Yeah.
putting it off for what you think other people want and need and who you have to take care of. You're the nurturer, we get that. But if you don't
Mm.
nurture yourself first, if you don't put your mask on first,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to help anybody, right? I mean, it's just
Exactly.
you're not going to help anybody. You call it the rapid alignment therapy, and you'd mentioned that something happened fast but lasts for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Is there are there tune-ups? Are there, people that come back and say, "Hey, I need a tweak,"
Yep.
or I
Yeah.
mean, or do you just fix them and they're gone?
No, it just really depends on each person's individual goals. I mean, some people might just come for one session and say, okay, I know that it's this one thing and I just need to fix this and everything will be fine. And that's fine. You know, if they have a system or another strategy that they're following and they just need this as like an external outsourced help that I need to stay on that path, then that's absolutely perfect. But obviously, the clients whose results I personally know are the best, and that I have worked with for a long time, so I can really attest to the complete transformation that I've seen happen in them versus a person that comes to me once or twice every 6 months. I wouldn't know their results because we don't spend enough time for me to understand and to study them as well. But yeah, it's such a wonderful technique that, you know, you can use it for like a single thing. Like I had a client that came to me just to heal her vertigo. And it was absolutely amazing to see that the vertigo was a psychosomatic symptom of her self-sabotaging whenever she was about to grow her business or about to take a big step, to take on new clients or more clients. She would suddenly get vertigo that would put her back for a whole week so that she couldn't take that big, bold action that she wanted to take. And that was an amazing and interesting conclusion that the mind came to, and then the brain pattern that it created. And then, of course, I've got other clients that everything have changed in their lives as a result of working with me in bigger containers. We're talking about a whole new career path, maybe even a whole new relationship, a completely different relationship with money and therefore result of incomings as well. It's got such a beautiful positive ripple effect. It's the greatest investment that you could make in yourself.
How wonderful when you feel and see those breakthroughs for people, when you can do that tweak and just show them something that they're just not seeing and then expose that to them and then heal them and help them walk through that. What an amazing breakthrough, right? It's pretty cool.
It is, and I love what I do. I really, really love what I do. I feel like I have like a first class seat to the greatest show. You know, I get to see things up close, and it just makes me so much more curious for this work that I do.
And now you're taking this work and you're training others to do this
Mm.
also. Tell me about that real quick. What's the deal with that?
Well, that is what I believe God asked of me because I initially coveted this gift and I said, I want to help 1 million people. And then it was shown to me time and time again through visions and dreams that it's not me that gets to create that change in 1 million people. It's the ripple effect because it's so much bigger when it's more than just me. And if I'm totally honest, I needed some time to digest that because my vanity wanted it to be me. But now I completely understand my role and have surrendered to it. And I love it. And as I said, I still feel like I get a first class seat to the greatest show in the world. And I'm happy to play as big or as small a part as I get to in everyone's life.
Sometimes it's hard to give up your baby, right?
It is, because of ego. You think it's yours, but yeah,
But
it's
the
not
truth
yours.
is, and I always tell my sons when we're talking about growth and expansion, I says, I'd rather have 10% of a massive thing than 100% of a small thing. And
Yeah.
sometimes you just have to let go of the fact that
Mm,
this is my baby and I'm going to get to that 1 million people. But then if you train, 10,000 people, the odds
mm,
of you getting to that million are greater, right? There's only so
yeah.
much time in a
Mm,
day and there's only so much of you. Um,
mm,
you've been wonderful with your time. I just have two quick questions that come to my head. Is the work tiring for you? Is when you're working with someone, do you need to refresh after working with someone if you're really healing someone with some emotional, some deep
mm,
stuff?
mm. It used to be at the beginning of me doing this work, it used to be draining. But I think the more that you do it, you also learn how to protect your own energy, so that you don't take on other people's or internalize other people's issues because it's very reflecting, this work. You see a lot of yourself in all the people that you help. And sometimes, because of sympathy and empathy, maybe we shrink down to meet them where they're at. But actually, your duty is to stay large to help them aspire to a version of themselves in you.
Yeah. I would imagine when you're empowering people like that, it will take a piece of you, so you need to get that back and kind of heal yourself. But
Mm,
so you've been so wonderful with your time. I do have one question. I give you the first question, but I sneak in the second question because I don't
okay.
want anyone to know the second question before I ask it. But so I always ask my guests before we sign off. I always say, if there was something that you wanted to share with the listeners before we go, something that was very special to you or meant something to you, it could be saying a thought, a belief, whatever, but something that you'd like to leave us with. Is there anything, Anastasia, that you'd like to leave us with before we go?
Yeah, sure. Whatever desire is written on your heart is written and given to you because you have the potential to achieve it. So trust your trust your dreams, trust your wishes. They're your northern star. They're guiding you in the right direction.
I love that. Yeah, trust yourself and trust your value. Trust that
Mm,
it'll be okay. When that gal comes to you and says, "I want to do this, but I have to wait for this or that because I have to take care of the others," trust that they'll be okay.
mm,
And that you need to heal yourself. You've got to
mm.
take care of yourself. Put your mask on first, or it just doesn't matter, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And steer away from normal. Steer away from everybody else's average low, pursue your best possible high.
Yeah, I mean, because the new normal is not normal. The new normal is cuckoo cray cray, and it's trying to steal
Exactly.
us. It's trying to steal our soul. It really
Yeah.
is. It's trying to steal our soul. It's not just breaking families, breaking people, but now they want to break our soul, and it's it's such a tragic thing, and that's why I loved the soul path mentor, that you're a soul path mentor, because our souls definitely need mentoring and we need
Yeah.
someone. So
Yeah.
Anastasia, you've been wonderful. I'm just so grateful for your time. And, like usual, the hours just fly by, but there's
Yeah.
just so many things we could touch on you. So, how do we reach the amazing Anastasia for people who want to reach out to you?
Thank you. You can definitely find me on Instagram. That's where I'm the most active. So at Anastasia Gerali. I'm sure Gary will have it in the show notes. And over there, you can also find the link to my free 3-day Soul Manifestation Code event, which is a 3-day online event for anyone to go through and hopefully come out the other end with some really wonderful tools.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to post all the links to the Instagram and also to that, because I read through that. That's some amazing stuff. I can't believe that that's free, because it takes time to do that stuff and everything. So that's
Yeah.
very gracious of you. That's very beautiful of you to give that. So again, Anastasia Gerali, you've been amazing. I'm so grateful for you and for your work and for what you're doing, and let's get to that million people. I can't wait till you heal a million people. And what's your cat's name?
The miracle activator.
Your cat's name's the Miracle Activator?
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Miracle Activator, it was a pleasure to meet you. And thank
And
you
you.
again, my friend. You've been wonderful. So everybody, please look for the amazing Anastasia on an upcoming episode of What If You Could. And we're just happy to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Gary.
Bye, everybody. See ya.
Thanks again for joining us on another episode of What If You Could podcast. Please subscribe, like, share, and give us any feedback. We'd love to hear it. And remember, if you can dream it, you can do it. See you next time.